Hello, collective and chosen ones. Welcome to my channel. It's so nice to have you here. Know that you're always loved and appreciated. If this is the first time you're here, welcome. And for all regular viewers, welcome back. Today I'm going to continue on with the topic of quantum consciousness and the power of unlimited abundance. Now, before I continue with how to use this power to create the abundance, let me remind you that we've lost the sense of who we are for a long time. And now it's time to realize that your potential is in the divine. You are of the divine, and everything is like a fractal. Well, it really is, because it's multiple versions of everything. So it's not just one universe, but it's multi-universe or multiverse. For a long time, we've been fighting over a silent war in us. I mentioned in the last reading that at every given moment, you have two sides to you. One is the ego side, and the other one is your higher self. And we're constantly having to take note of everything that comes our way. In the last reading, I mentioned a few channels that I suggested to really listen in on some teachings on consciousness and how to manifest that. One in particular is Mark Haughton, and I'll have a list of them in the description box. But Mark has really pointed out something that's very interesting, how he talked about at every given moment, we're split down into two sides of us. And we're in the middle between our higher self and our ego. And it's constantly streaming information to us. No wonder sometimes we're stressed out, because we have no way of knowing exactly who to listen to or what to listen to. The trouble is that the higher self is the quiet one. It's on the background. Hence, we don't tend to always listen to it, which is what caused the problem in the past. We've been conditioned to listen to the ego, which is the louder one. And we used to think that the ego knows the best. But in truth, it's the other way around. So now we have to recondition our minds and our subconscious to reset everything, because you have already got everything you need. The only thing is that everything that you need is already in the field that is higher than 3D. So the ego is conditioned to just only see things as they manifested in the physical world. And that's where we are bound to the limited things that come our way. So that's the problem. When we can't see it physically, we think that it's not working. It's time to recondition everything and reset. And the way to do that is to quietly go within constantly and reviewing how we feel at every given moment. Now, I talked about this world is not a universe. It's a multiverse. We have multiple versions of the one thing and everything. So it's now a time to recondition what no longer serves us. But instead of saying, say for example, this relationship is not working, or this job is not working, you can rephrase it into a frequency of asking the multiverse, give me another best and higher version, because I'm ready to receive. So I'll give you an example of what happened today. I'm in the stage where I am withdrawing a large fund of money that I've invested from an organization. Now, this organization is not giving me much information as to how, but it's in a rigid way of withdrawing. So instead of me in the past, where I used to just chuck tantrums and swear in my head and complain, I asked the multiverse or the higher self, please give me the best action and the best option. I had to refrain myself from saying, this is not working. Sometimes you may, if you're starting to rephrase and reset your life, you may still go back to the old self where you have negative thoughts. That's quite normal. But if you can continue to observe your feelings internally and keep asking this question, multiverse, please give me, I'm ready to receive the best option and the best version. And refrain yourself from saying, I don't have it, therefore I want it. Because the more you think of that, the more the multiverse will give you, or the field will give you exactly what you don't have, the lack of it and the scarcity. So Mark also made a very good affirmation, which is very effective. Mark Haughton says, I choose my own source of abundance. And this is a very, very good affirmation, because at every given moment, you have everything and you have all the power that you have. So that frees you up from having to rely and react to external factors. So going back to the problem where this company is saying, no, you need to do this in order for the withdrawal. I asked the multiverse for another option. And when you do that, it's like ordering something online. Don't expect it to come straight away, but allow some time. And also another analogy is like you being a farmer. You planted something from the seed. You don't go around watching it day in, day out. And there's nothing you need to do except to just make sure that it has adequate soil, nutrients, and water. And then in time, it'll come into fruition, literally. So this is the same thing as what you set out to do, and getting the desires to come into fruition and into the physical world. There is a lag time. So the physical world is always in catch-up with the inner world. So what you have manifested in the internal world or inner world, there is a time that it takes later on to come into the physical one. The hardest part and your biggest job that you need to do is just believing it's finished, it's done, and the multiverse will deliver. That's only the hardest part. There's nothing really you need to do. And I'll go back to my example of manifesting something that has already happened with my investments. My investments in such a short period of time has created something that I couldn't even comprehend. And the profit that I received was 8 times more than my last job that I worked for in a company. So this investment is just me creating it through a third party. And it's 8 times more than my income. Now, this came about only once I let go of the way that it comes in. See, the problem is when we used to control how it comes in, it really limits everything. It literally puts sometimes even a halt in having it manifested in the physical world. The reason being is that you keep asking the universe, you keep checking and checking and checking. It's like watching paint dry. It just would not happen. And in fact, it can actually even stop the whole thing from happening. So by being an observer, your only job is to to observe your inner feelings. You're not controlling the external factors. All you're doing is asking yourself, how do I feel right now? Now, if you don't feel good, rephrase a question and ask the multiverse. At every given time, I'm ready to receive my abundance. It can come from any source at any time. I'm open to love, healing, joy, and everything that I desire. So do not mourn the loss, but instead celebrate your departure from them. So I'm talking about certain things that you may have felt that you lost. Some of you have already mentioned friendships. Some of you have mentioned issues with family or anyone else, relationships. This is meant to happen. The universe or multiverse, see, I have to also rephrase myself as well and be mindful of where this is coming from. And the multiverse will deliver. So when you've lost somebody, the multiverse is actually making way for something brand new that works for you. Because you've already created it. All you're doing is summoning and grabbing that version into your life. And for Mark Haughton, he always wins his lotto. And he explains why. And it's not because of luck. Has got nothing to do with luck. He said that all he did was he has grabbed another version, the winning version. It had nothing to do with numbers, but it was already created. That winning version of you that won the lotto, or that particular winning, has already happened. And all you're doing is just grabbing that. He also talked about the law of assumption. Assume that you have already got it. And that's not a lie, because the multiverse has already created this version. But we have been so conditioned to just accepting that some versions just has been in our lives because we just haven't had that luck. We haven't had that opportunity. So start assuming that at any given time, you've already got this abundance and it's already here. You've had the blueprint all along. And as I said, it's not your fault. We've been conditioned to do that, to not get this abundance. So now it's time to accept the fact that not who you are is what you are. You are a being with multiple versions of you. And every given time, you have the right to summon all that in and accept what you desire. And regularly say to yourself, I choose myself. I'm already desired. Know that life does not happen to you, it happens through you. The longer you question when it will come to you, the longer it won't arrive, or it will not arrive at all. See, it's now time for us to assume our power, because life is waiting for you to assume it. You have already got it. The other thing we need to do now is not react to anything. So at any time somebody causes you to react in a way, stop yourself and ask this question. I'm ready to receive a higher version of my life. And I'm ready to receive something different. And have that confidence enough to create this in your head by imagining it, because you have already got it. Whilst you're still doing your inner work, by internally asking these questions regularly, ready to receive, think of our multi-universe or multiverse as multiple versions like a fractal. At any given time, you have the right to choose another version. So one version of you in the past has not been great. You've had to suffer a lot. Now choose a brand new version where it's the opposite. You're quite happy. You're very powerful. You have abundance. You have a fantastic relationship. You have a lot of wealth. You're very healthy. And you're not sabotaging yourself. And everything is just full of joy. That's the other version of you. And really imagine this fully and bask in this kind of feeling. How great it is. Because it's already here. It's just that you didn't get the chance to take that version. Or because it was fear or all the negative emotions that you used to have. I'll give you another example of what happened to my transformation as well in terms of dealing with relationships. A few months ago, I was still having lots of issues with my mum. And everything was very much full of drama, and the energy and frequency was very, very low. It got to the point where we were having lots of arguments, and it wasn't really nice. So I started to look into the quantum manifestation and observing what is happening, and revisiting all the teachings on quantum manifestation. I started to get why this has happened. It's because I chose that vibration, and I chose to participate in it. I didn't give myself another option, and I didn't understand or believe that I am a powerful being that's created from the divine and consciousness. At any given time, I'm powerful enough to reinvent myself into another version, which is of the highest purpose and good. Now, since after that, the realization, my mum and I have had the best relationship ever. And my mother has gone from being a very much neurotic person with lots of anxiety to now being so calm. And she used to like a lot of noise. Now she's just very much into having quiet moments and a complete turnaround, almost a different person. Well, she is now, because this frequency has rubbed off onto her, and I have effectively transferred some of this higher vibration onto her. So that's why I'm inviting you to really understand how quantum manifestation and consciousness works. As I said last time, I did suggest the channel of Sacred Quantum, Sehnend, Sehnend, Quantum Shift, Mark Haughton, Neville Goddard teachings, and Cosmic Wealth. These are great channels which helps you realize your potential and really make you understand who you really are, what you really are. Not so much the who, meaning one person, but you are a powerful being that has everything already there. So nowadays I still come across challenges, but instead of reacting, I find ways to, or alternative options to resolve it. Yesterday I had another issue, but instead of treating it as a real issue that couldn't be resolved, I quickly asked for another version, and within no time it was resolved. I would normally have to react and got really upset and angry because this is another third party that is not really cooperating. But instead of doing that, I asked for other alternative, and the field has reflected back to me the result. So these are very powerful things that I never used to know that I'm capable of doing. Now, if you need to save this in a playlist, please do that. And I invite you to have a look at these other videos first and spend so much time on, quite a lot of time on just really getting how to tap into this power. It's just absolutely amazing. It really saves you a lot of time in the past where you would have spent years on trying to to be successful and become abundant. I'm going to leave it for now. And if you have any questions, please feel free to comment, and I'll give you the email address as well. If you want to email me and ask me some questions, please do so. But I'm just passing you some information based on my experience and letting you know that you can do that as well. I'm sending you lots of love and blessings, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for your time. Bye for now.